Greetings Samurai, FiOth here, and in this video we're gonna be going over the most useful, the most essential skills that you can unlock in Neo 2, and you should unlock them as soon as possible because it will make your life that much easier. Now I'm not gonna go over every weapon and its best skills, although I'm gonna give a couple suggestions here and there. We're gonna be talking about the core abilities that the protagonist can unlock, and we're gonna focus on the first few circles of nodes, not the furthest ones, because those will take a lot of time and effort, and this is a, let's say, starter's guide to how you build your character. But without further ado, let's get to it. So we will be focusing on the samurai, ninja, sifting, and onmyo magic trees. The rest are weapon specific, and we don't want to go too much in depth yet. We're going to start with samurai. For me, what you need to have here initially are just two things. You will have to get Flax 2 after you beat the Way of the Warrior Novice in the dojo. This will give you chunks of ki back when you perform a perfect pulse and then switch your stance. And this is very, very important because you can deplete an enemy's ki with, let's say, mid-stance hits, and then you can have extra ki when you switch to high stance to deal as much damage as possible. Very, very important. The second thing I want to have here is Purify Yokai Realm Heaven. This is the high stance node, and it says that increases your attack strength when you perform a purification with a perfectly timed ki pulse. So whenever you perform a purification with a perfect input, it will increase your damage. That's pretty much it. It will increase your damage. It is very, very useful when using high stance, and high stance is what you will be using to deal big chunks of damage when you go in the offensive. So that's it for samurai for the very beginning of the game. We won't go any further than that. As you gain points, start investing in the same things for the rest of the stances, the key recovery and added benefits. You will need to clear a few missions to be able to move further anyway. The game's built in a way that you always have to invest in the essentials first. But out of all these essentials, we're gonna, as I said, cover the most important. So the second thing we want to go to is the ninja tree. Now in the ninja tree, we want two things as soon as possible. The first one is the sneak attack. It takes one node on the low path that will give you tiger running, and then you go for sneak attack. Sneak attack is a very basic technique. When the enemy hasn't noticed you, you can perform a backstab on them. On humanoids, it will be a grapple backstab, and on yokai, it will be a high damage backstab that doesn't use the grapple properties of the humanoid counterpart, but it's still very, very effective. The second thing we want to pursue is, let me find it, this, the quick change scroll. Now, quick change is very, very, very important. If you have it active and it stays active for a very long time, if you die, it will bring you back to life. This is immensely important, life-saving, and will make your life that much easier. The problem with that is that you need to progress enough in the game to be able to get it, but it's been a staple since Neo 1. Get quick change as soon as possible. These two are the main focus we have up to this point. Sneak attack and quick change are what you want to start your ninja path with, especially if you're a new player. Now the sifting skill tree has two very important nodes. Since the game's been out for a couple of days, each and every one of you that didn't have a review copy will know that the worst thing to happen during a mission is to have to go through the Dark Realm. In the Dark Realm, enemies are very menacing, your ki recovery is very low, and it's a most problematic situation all in all. So the first two things we want to do is get one node here, the Devour Yokai Realm. It will say 1 at first, and then you're gonna upgrade it to 2, as you see here, and 3 afterwards. And we want to get the Yokai Within and the Dark Within to level 3 as soon as possible. The reason for that is when the yokai leave those little puddles, those little vortexes, when they recover ki, you will be in the yokai realm if you stand on them, and that will impede your ki recovery immensely. So we will be using this, the yokai within, to reduce that penalty by 1/3, by 30%. Very, very, very important. Even better, then you can go to the dark within and have the exact same benefit, mitigating 60% of the penalty when in the dark realm. This will up your chances of survival in the dark realm immensely. I cannot stretch this enough. Go and get the dark within as soon as possible. After that, I went for Demonic Tenacity. Reduces the depletion of the yokai shift gauge by 20% when taking damage in yokai form. You can get this as soon as possible as well to retain your yokai form when and if you need it and deploy it, but that's secondary. You need those two first most important things you can get in the shifting tree. On Mu Magic is where we're gonna go next, and what we want to get first and foremost is give me a second. This is the Sloth Talisman. Now, what does the Sloth Talisman do? Well, Sloth, when applied, reduces the movement and attack speed of your enemies to a crawl. Makes them much, much slower, much more predictable, much easier to dodge, much easier to evade. It will lay a situation that seemed to be unbeatable, very, very, very easy to handle. As long as you have some charges of Sloth in your inventory, there will be few chances of you encountering an enemy that you can't put up a fight against. So you will need to get Purification Talisman, you will need to get Lighting Talisman, and then you will need to have both Pure Heaven, Cursed Earth, and Pure Mind 1 to be able to progress to Sloth. That, guys, used to be one of the most important PvE tools in Neo 1, and it still is in Neo 2. It will help you, trust me, it will help you tremendously. Go and get it. So in the core trees, you have these suggestions now. From the weapons I've used, what I can tell you is that for the sword, for the double swords, for the Odachi, you want to use any of the EI quick draw techniques available. EI quick draw for the sword, Sign of the Cross for the dual swords, Imperative Strike for the Odachi. It's pretty much the same thing for all of them, of course, with different form and different area of effect. You sit the blade, you quick draw it and deal a shitload of damage on the target or targets when it connects. Very, very good for ambushing enemies. One quick draw from behind will have the battle tilted in your favor from the first hit, and many, many enemies will die in one swing. So get quick draw, very, very, very important. Now for the rest of the weapons, there have been some staples since the first game, but I will not try to play the expert here with things that I don't understand yet. So for the blades, go for quick draw, and for the hatchets that I experimented a bit with, don't forget to utilize their throw abilities. If you hold heavy attack, you will charge the throw. It will be different on the high, mid, and low stance. It actually throws the axe and deals a decent amount of damage, offering you a ranged alternative when you need to land that final blow without engaging at close quarters combat. So I initially thought that the hatchets were just the dual swords with more damage and larger key consumption, but they have a unique twist. Give them a go. That's it from me, guys, for today. I hope you found this useful. Sub, like, and share if you did, because I'm covering everything I can get my hands on in Neo 2. Until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always strive for perfection. Cheers.